Good morning, everyone, those that have joined us. From the East African point of view, we are still in the morning, and probably in the European side, they are also still in the morning. And our Asian friends might be in the afternoon. Welcome to our webinar, which is on the theme of biocyclic vegan agriculture as a whole. In case my voice is a little low, you give me an up sign. Maybe there's a reaction button here. Normally, you can always share your reactions. If you are happy about something, you can always also share that. I like that point, to give the presenters a nod that you like the point, or you have a question. In our webinar, you can always also raise your hand and you'll be given the rights to speak at the right time when it comes. I want to welcome you. My name is Juliet Katsime, and I work here with the Mind Nature Institute. We are based in Kampala here in the eastern part of Africa. And we are a regional institution that look into 8 East African countries. And we are happy to partner with the Biocyclic Vegan International, we are also co-organizing this webinar. And they have been very central in this work of Biocyclic Vegan agriculture and the whole plant-based agriculture and food system. We are also happy to work with Enhancement, so in the Plenty Food Foundation. They have a number of branches in terms of Plenty Food Netherlands, Plenty Food Deutschland, and Plenty Food International as well. So they are a team as well. They have work on ground, and they'll be sharing a number of experiences on how farmers have been interacting with this kind of model of agriculture, the bio-vegan agriculture in Africa. So what we are going to be discussing is not entirely foreign, but it's an approach that we want to scale, an approach that we want farmers to learn, and the different partners in the different categories. Let's say you are into the international development, you're funding it, or you're practicing it, or promoting it. This is an opportunity to understand the model in the first place, but also appreciate it to a level that we did it scaled across the continent of Africa, but also strengthened, let's say, in Europe and other parts of the world. I want to welcome our different participants that have joined us. I'm sure you're coming from different countries and with different rich experiences. I also want to welcome our presenters whom we are going to have. You have presenters who are really rich in experience. You have Dr. Johannes from Germany and Greece, with wide experience also in Cyprus. You do have Ian Smith. He's a tropical forester, but we also with a very rich experience in South Africa, in Vietnam, in Cameroon, and of course the Netherlands, where he's seated as well. And you have Dr. Alex, who is very versed with the climate change issues and maize and the modeling part of things, and is also interested in the environmental and agricultural systems. We do have Axel. Axel is very ingrained in this topic of biocyclic vegan agriculture. He's promoting it across the world. Of course, seated normally in Berlin and in Austria as well. So this rich experience, and myself, I identify as an environmental management professional by training, but also by passion. And I'm also working and scaling out nature-based solutions, agroecology. I do the practice, but also the academic and research part of it. I like making sure that we have a community of minds, that our ideas are not just abstract, but they are really practical, and they are going on with the implementation amongst the communities. With those few words, I want to also share with you the objectives that we have for this webinar, that we invited people who are going to be joining us continuously. And one of them is we wanted to raise awareness about biocyclic vegan agriculture as a model, but also entirely the plant-based food and agriculture system and its contribution to nature-based solutions, to agroecology, and also to climate resilience. And that is why our theme is enhancing this model and making it very positively contributing to the various discussions that are ongoing. We want to reinforce this plant-based system as part of the conversation, but also part of the practices that are ongoing when we are trying to transform but also strengthen food systems across the world. Plants are basically the main component when we are talking food and agriculture system. So it will be very nice that you listen to the presentation on why we are actually bringing it as a topic again, when it is the main component when we are talking food and agriculture system. Why are we discussing plants as a solution or as a complementary or as a main component of the food and agriculture system? So we also want to strengthen that area of utilizing plants, scaling them, but also using them with good experiences. Our focus is largely Africa as well. We do have the opportunity to utilize the plants, but also we do have the scarcity to utilize the plants. So this is a platform where we are trying to enrich that experience, learning from a number of experiences from Europe, but also from the African context as well. So that is very key. It is important to learn that our partners also have a number of distinct characters. For instance, the Biozyklisch-Veganer International, they would really want to see vegan from farm to fork, to see that trajectory strengthened. But also our partners from Plenty Food, they are saying, can we shorten the food chain? Why are we having a very long one when we can actually have a short one and excel in our climate goals, excel in our nature-based solutions, but also excel in our agroecology? Can we shorten it? And I like that one as well. And as from the My Nature Institute, we are saying we want pro-nature food systems, pro-nature food and agricultural systems. And making sure that you might be vegan, might be growing vegan, but how about the other chains? Are they climate tolerant? Are they polluting more? So we want to ensure that kind of balance and kind of conversation. So with those words, I want to invite our first presenter, which is Axel Anders, who will be presenting to us more about Biozyklisch-Vegan agriculture. And about him is a Berliner. He's a Berliner, most of the time based in Germany. And he's a psychologist who has also ventured in and experienced and learned languages and business, both in France and Germany. And he's been in the sector for a number of years, since the 1980s, working one of the lead founders of these concepts. That is the Adolf Fuchs Society, that they worked with Adolf Fuchs himself, but also founded a number of institutions around the personality of that great person. He also ensures that we do have this conversation, and that is why we're actually having this conversation now, focusing on the African continent. And of course, he's a founder, co-founder, and a board member of a number of agencies that will be of very good help on strengthening on how we roll out these kind of conversations. So, Axel, I hope you're ready. Finally, take us through this moment where we are ready and eager to learn about Biozyklisch-Vegan International, but also partly about Biozyklisch-Vegan agriculture as a model. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Juliet, and welcome to everybody. I'm very happy that we can have this event today because I think it's a new milestone for our work. We found this cooperation with the My Nature Institute last February when we had a stall on Biofach Fair in Nuremberg, and we had very good discussions. And now things are getting more advanced and coming into practice. And I think it's very important that we have more contacts in Africa and to spread the good information about this approach all over the world. And I saw in the list of registrations that we have also attendees from other countries in Africa, from South Africa to Mali and Nigeria and Ghana and Tanzania, and also from the Philippines and from Ethiopia, of course, and from other countries. So I think we are having an international meeting. Welcome to everybody. And I just want to give you a first short introduction what Biocyclic vegan agriculture means, why we have it, why we think it's important, why we want to spread it, just to give you some background information. So for this, I've prepared a small presentation, and hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes.
Is it okay? Fine. Wonderful. So we are talking about biocyclic vegan agriculture as an approach to purely plant-based organic farming. So in a way, organic, it's evident for many people now in the world that organic, we can also say it was the first idea of what we call regenerative today, sometimes agroecology. We want a healthy, soil-friendly and biodiversity-friendly approach to agriculture. This is something which is adopted, and I think for everybody it is quite clear. But so why do we also talk about vegan? Vegan is something that came up, a long time ago. Some people are vegetarians, sometimes they are vegan. There are many reasons for this. The word vegan was formed in 1948, I think, by some people in the UK, and it spread around the world. It's becoming more and more obvious that there is an issue about vegan diets. It's very good for our health, first of all. It's very good for the animals, and there are some other reasons. And so I think I should also talk something about it, why we suddenly talk about vegan agriculture. Why is this so important, especially in organic farming? And just to remind some of the ideas of the problems of the livestock sector, when we talk about climate issues, there's a very poor climate footprint for animal products. The food sector is one of the main factors for climate change, and there are some studies which say that 15% of global climate emissions are directly or indirectly caused by livestock sector. So that is a very strong lever where we can impact our the development of climate change, and to reduce climate change if possible. If reduce livestock, it is a very, very important thing. So we must find ways in farming that we can do it without less livestock. There are some other aspects. If we talk about the diets, it's very interesting. The climate gas emissions are very strong if you have a traditional diet in Germany, which is the left column, where you see the production of climate, the climate footprint is quite high. You have this was in the traditional diet in the 1980s. This has already gone back because the society became more aware of finding a more climate-friendly and balanced diet, and this happened also in 2006 already. So there is already a good improvement. Then we get a bit lower. We have recommendations of the German Society for Nutrition, which reduces meat and dairy, and then we have already a better impact. And then we talk about vegetarian diet, which is called ovo-lacto-vegetarian, which includes eggs and dairy. And then we have already an even better impact. But we come to a vegan diet, and this is the last column. And we see also from the diet that is a very, very good reduction of the impact on climate gases. So this is also very interesting to study why we think the concept of vegan and plant-based should be considered in agriculture, because we have to reduce this not only in our diets, but also in the production of the food we eat. It's also very interesting if we talk about land use, because if we talk about 50% of the habitable land is used for agriculture, and from this 77% is used for livestock, and only 23% for crops which are used directly for human consumption. And the output you get from this in calorie supply, this small green 23% of crops supply 83% of the plant-based food of the calorie supply of human nutrition, and all the 77% of livestock farming produce only 23% or 17% of the calories for human nutrition. In food protein supply, it's a bit different, but the impact is also very strong. Only 1/3 of the protein supply comes from milk and dairy. From this 73, from 3/4 of arable land from livestock. So this shows also the efficiency of land use is very poor if we talk about animal farming. One more aspect also, if you want to produce calories for human consumption, you get a plant on the left side, and you get the energy, 100 calories, you feed it to animals. The animals need it by 90% to build up their bodies and for their digestion and their metabolism and their warmth, and so they live a certain period. And then we eat meat, we have only 10% of the calories which were initially supplied by the plants. So if we can bypass the animal, this is also what Juliet also mentioned, we can come to a much better result in the efficiency, the calorie efficiency in our food. And last but not least, there is also a paradigm shift in the human-animal relationship. Just to mention this, there are more and more people who consider animals are sentient fellow creatures, which we don't feel we want really to kill them, to torture them, we look for animal welfare, but we think, can we do it in a different way? Do we really need to eat animals? And there is a lot of philosophy about it. In Germany, we had very strong influence by Albert Schweitzer, who was a doctor, medical doctor, who worked also in Gabon for a long time. He had his hospital there, and he has developed an ethics of reference for life. And this Albert Schweitzer was very strong also especially in German-speaking and French-speaking countries for the movement of the people who are considered about animal welfare. And there's a very interesting book by Melanie Joy. She created the concept of carnivism because she said we have a very strong distortion in our perception. We love dogs and pets at home and we really pamper them. But then at the same time, we eat pigs and wear the leather of cows. And these animals, we haven't seen them, but they are as sentient and as conscious and as cute as also our pets are at home. So what is happening to us? And this is very interesting to read about it. And she said this way of conception or perception, she calls it carnism, as we talk about racism and sexism. And so she calls it carnism. And she wrote a very interesting book, which you can find also online. I think you can order it, and it's very interesting to read this background information. So this is just to introduce the idea, and I've come to Adolf Hobbes, whom already Juliet mentioned, and he was a pioneer in organic farming already since the 1950s. I was very lucky to meet him in the 80s and organize some meetings and trainings with him and so. And he had an idea. He said, of course, the future of agriculture is organic and soil friendly and regenerative and so on and so on. But then he found out that organic farming, as it was considered in those days, was very strongly connected to animal agriculture, especially to the use of manure, because everybody says, of course, we need the manure for fertilizing. We don't have anything else. We don't have chemicals, fertilizers, so we really need the manure. So all organic farming was based on animal manure as fertilizer. And they called it's closing the cycle. It closes a certain cycle of organic matter, of course, but it's not a complete closed cycle, because whenever you have a farm, you sell products for consumption, you don't have a closed cycle. And still, organic farmers very often talk about closed cycle. But he said, no, we have to find a way in the future to develop a form of organic agriculture that can do without livestock. And so in order to achieve a sustainable soil fertility. And since the 1950s, he has tried to work on this and to find ways on his own market garden in northern Germany. And so this was the basis and the beginning of biocyclic vegan agriculture, which of course had some other predecessors and forerunners in a way. Since the 100 years ago, there were already movements of vegetarianism and plant-based agriculture. But this also gave the input for our approach, which is now biocyclic vegan agriculture, purely plant-based organic farming. And it includes all commercial livestock farming and slaughtering of animals and does not use any inputs of animal origin. And a special emphasis is placed on the promotion of biodiversity, healthy soil life, the closure of organic cycles, and on systematic humus build-up. So there we unite the two concepts of organic and of vegan. So if we look at this, biocyclic vegan agriculture in many respects is good for the climate, as we said already, on soil, because we don't pollute the soil, not with chemical fertilizers, but also not with manure and all the damageable byproducts, medication, antibiotics, germs, and so on. Biodiversity is even in our standard biocyclic vegan farming. We have a very strong aspect of biodiversity, health for the human beings, for the plants, because we also produce very healthy food, which is very rich and vital and rich in nutrients. And global food security, it can help even in very poor regions where they don't have animals to find a new way of producing fruit crops for human consumption with plant-based fertilization. And this helps smallholder farmers. And of course, it helps the animals because we try to reduce the killing and the torturing of animals, especially if we talk about factory farming, but also in general, when you have an animal. I've worked on farms and I know what it means when you have to kill an animal that you have been living with for a while and being a friend with. So this is also a farming approach which contains which replies to all SDGs. We have if you are interested, you can have a look on our website. We find for every SDG, we find reasons why bicyclic vegan agriculture contributes for the attainment of these goals. And there is the extra one, which is set up now by some people, animal rights activists in America. And I think it's a very good idea to add the number 18 of the SDGs, zero animal exploitation. So that is also something that we deeply are convinced that we can give an answer to this in agriculture. So the history very closely, I talked already about Adolf Hobbes, who started his farm in Germany. Then Johannes Eisenbach, whom you are going to listen to a bit later, he met Johann Adolf Hobbes in the 1980s. So I introduced them, the two of them actually, and Johannes Eisenbach was already living in Greece and invited Adolf Hobbes to come to Greece to adapt this approach to the Mediterranean region to develop organic agriculture in Greece. And when Adolf Hobbes died in 1999, the work was continued with Johannes Eisenbach and Adolf Hobbes' son Arne, and they created the Biocyclic guidelines. The Biocyclic guidelines were already mainly plant-based, but they still tolerated a certain approach of animal farming because the concept of vegan was not that known in these areas at the time. But it was almost a vegan approach with very strong requirements if there was animal husbandry. So this was not a vegan approach, but a very predominantly plant-based approach in farming. And then in 2016, there was a network in Germany, which was a vegan organic network, very strongly influenced and inspired by the British UK vegan organic network, and they were trying already to implement vegan organic farming in Germany. And we brought together this initiative with the biocyclic approach from Johannes Eisenbach and the standard. And then we work consistently on developing it in a more rigorous way and say, well, this is a very vegan standard. We modified the standard and it was called Biocyclic Vegan Standard, a purely plant-based vegan standard. And this one was admitted in the IFOAM family of standards. It's the only global standalone standard for vegan organic farming, which is now applicable worldwide as an independent standard, and everywhere in the world now farms can be certified, which is also important for the question of transparency. To give a framework to this, we founded the Adolf Hobbes Society in Berlin, together with Arne Hobbes, myself, and Dr. Johannes Eisenbach, and it's an officially recognized non-profit organization in Germany. This is, at the moment, the function is, it's named after Adolf Hobbes. It is a publisher of the Biocyclic Vegan Standard. It retains all the rights for the standard. It is the owner of the quality seal, the Biocyclic Vegan Quality Seal, which I'm going to talk about. It's the coordinator of Biocyclic Vegan International. And of course, as I said, it is a non-profit organization because we consider that this knowledge should be available to everybody and it should not be the source of profit for private people. So this was the reason why we created it in this way. We have the Biocyclic Vegan Quality Seal, which is connected to a certification system, which is very important, especially when you go into retail and into into supermarkets, and so people want a reliability. So if you have a small farm, or if you have a solidarity, a community suppressed agriculture farm, it is a different situation. You have confidence. But if you want to buy something in a store, it is very helpful to have a clear control system that assures that the products are produced in the right way, not only organically, but also according to vegan principles. So that is why we have this label, which can be used, and we have certain system, which I'm not going to talk about. It would lead too far, but this can be very interesting for many farms, and it gives a visibility of this approach, because also we need communication. It's very important that people hear about it. And we created an international organization with partners and network organizations in Germany, in Cyprus, in Greece, in the Netherlands, in Belgium, in the UK, in Brazil, and of course also our partner is the Mind Nature Institute in Uganda. And there are others to come in many other countries. So we are in contact loosely with many interested people and farms. We have a map here, which is the European map, but we are working on a new worldwide map now, which will be published soon, where we can see the farms in different countries. And this is going to develop, so you will have everything on our website. And many countries already where farms are certified, about 50 in the world. Some others are waiting. So this is developing, and all the new information you get on our website. And you see some examples. The first one in Germany was the fruit orchard in south of Germany. We have a cooperative farm near Berlin who supply all the veggie boxes for Berlin. There is a nice large farm in Romania, which shows that you can also do arable farming. They have hundreds of hectares, so this is also possible. And we are talking to another bigger one with 4,000 hectares in Serbia. So people, we can do small permaculture farms like this one in Sweden, but we can also have large farms, in large areas, and they all can adapt the Biocyclic vegan principle, because it's not a method, it is a principle. I just show some examples, and you have even some, like the Dutch one, they created the no shit movement. They call them brand new shit. And they were honored as the entrepreneur of the year because they were so innovative, and they had a big award for this in 2022. So you see a large variety of farms. You can go into vineyards, and in France, in Bordeaux region, there's even one in Canada, in Nova Scotia, where they do a fantastic sparkling wine, which is Biocyclic vegan. You have all these many small farms in Greece and Cyprus producing all the oranges and olives and olive oil and vegetables. So you have lots of farms, and will be very happy to add more African farms in the future. So to make it short, this was just a short introduction to give you some idea, and you get much more details now afterwards. I can give you the first African example already, which comes probably in the film, which Arjen is going to show you. And then Johannes will talk about the more details of the very, very practical and scientific aspects of our approach. But the idea is grow vegan and organic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Axel, for that very elaborate history of the Biocyclic vegan agriculture principle, as you've mentioned, and also the different ways that actually you can tailor it at small scale, but also there's the possibilities of large scale. Normally, we tend to get those kind of questions. Is what you're promoting profitable? Is what you're promoting able to feed the world? Is what you're promoting able to achieve the different goals that you're talking? And that's a very good and impressive examples that you placed there. And of course, the quality seal for those who want to really achieve a higher grade in terms of assessment and evaluation. The BV has a quality seal that really indicates that you're vegan garden, but also as far as up to the market. And of course, appreciating the non-profit work that is being done and the history of such a great personality that you're building and the legacy that you're carrying on. And of course, the other interesting element of adding a goal. You already have 17 and then we add one, so it will be quite handsome, but I think it's a step in the right direction. Plants, part and parcel, they are key and very fundamental in helping us achieve the goals of agroecology, nature-based solutions, but also climate change resilience. the data that you presented was speaking in that direction, that if you want to achieve a certain degree, this is the direction that you have to take. Thank you so much for that. I want to invite Ayan. Ayan, you have a presentation, but just to begin by also introducing you, I know you have another presentation, but this first one, Ayan works with Plenty Food Netherlands, and of course is fundraising and projects coordinator. He's making sure that we get the funds to get things done, and that is a very important element. We are talking climate finance, but also food finance and plant finance and all that. So Ayan comes in very handy, and we want to appreciate you for that. He's also experienced in tropical forestry. That's what he studied at Wageningen. I want to let you know that I had to first get the sounding of this university name. Normally, I put a G, but then I realized it's not a G, it's a hair. So it was an experience that I learned how to read it. And he, of course, he spent some time in South Africa, Cameroon, and other parts of the world where he's been implementing this kind of work of really stopping the aggression on animals, but also ensuring that he's not just saying stop, but he's also giving us an alternative, which is the plant-based food and agriculture system. Ayan, go forth and kindly share what you have for us.
Thank you very much, Juliet, for that introduction. And also thank you, Axel, for giving your introduction about veganism and vegan agriculture. So my name is Arjan Smits and I work for the Plenty Food Foundation. This organization is a development organization which was founded as under the vegan principles. And I will give a presentation later about what that involves. And one of the projects we work with, we only work with plant-based food projects, mainly in countries where famine is, or in developing countries or the global south. And one of the organizations we work with is Vegan Village Society in Uganda. And Bob Rumanzi, the founder, has made a nice video about the a range of tools that you can use to make vegan agriculture into a success. And I would like to show this video to give an introduction of what it all involves. It not only involves compost, but a range of other tools. So I will show the video now. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
Everyone, I bring you greetings from Uganda and from my farm here, where I have opted to capture this video from. I'm Bob Rumanzi, the director and the founder of the Vegan Village Society here in Uganda, an organization that is championing veganic gardening and promoting plant-based meals and veganism at all here in Uganda. I'm glad to join you on this Zoom and to show you some of the veganic farming methods that we use and that we promote at Vegan Village Society. Of course, veganic farming is a type of agriculture that avoids all animal products and synthetic chemicals. It focuses on creating healthy, productive, and sustainable farms using plant-based inputs. Vegan Village Society has been actively working with communities to implement these practices, and here are the main methods that we use. Number one is composting and green manure. Instead of using animal manure or synthetic fertilizers, Vegan Village Society encourages using plant-based compost and green manure. Green manure involves growing plants like legumes and then incorporating them into the soil to improve fertility. This enhances soil fertility naturally, improves soil structure and water retention, reduces dependency on chemical fertilizer. Vegetable farmers are taught to use crop residues, kitchen waste, and leguminous plants to make nutrients-rich compost that nourishes their gardens here at Vegan Village Society. Method number 2 is cover cropping. This is growing specific crops such as clovers, beans, or cowpeas to cover the soils rather than leaving it bare. And it prevents soil erosion, fixes nitrogen in the soil naturally, suppressing weeds without chemical herbicides. Farmers plant cover crops between vegetable rows during the off-season to keep soil healthy and productive. Method number 3 is crop rotation. This means alternating crops in the same plot across seasons, and this reduces pests and disease buildup, maintains soil fertility, supports biodiversity on the farm. At Vegan Village Society, farmers rotate leafy vegetables with legumes and root crops, which balances nutrients in the soil naturally. Method number 4 is natural pests and disease control. This means using plant-based solutions to manage pests instead of chemical pesticides. The techniques we use are neem oil sprays to deter insects, garlic, chill, or chinga extracts as natural repellents, companion planting, e.g. planting marigolds near tomatoes to repel nematodes. Farmers at Vegan Village Society are trained to make their own plant-based sprays and interplant pest-repelling species to maintain organic health. Method number 5 is mulching, the covering of soils with plant materials like dried leaves, straw, or crop residues. And this conserves soil moisture, reduces weed growth, adds organic matter to the soils as it decomposes. At Vegan Village Society, women's groups in vegetable farming use mulching extensively to protect soils and reduce water usage, especially during dry seasons. Method number 6, seed savings and local varieties. Seed savings from one harvest to plant the next season instead of buying hybrids or GMO seeds. This preserves local plant biodiversity, reduces dependency on external inputs, and promotes resilient crops suited to local climate. At Vegan Village Society, vegetable farmers save seeds from their best performing vegetables, ensuring sustainable and cost-effective farming. And on this note, we have submitted proposals to different organizations to seek funds to establish or to build a seed bank here in Uganda so that we can maintain these local seeds to keep helping our farmers and the whole communities. And we hope that we shall get funds soon to establish this seed bank. Method number 7 is water conservation techniques like drip irrigation, using rainwater, planting in basins or small pits to retain water, distributing water tanks as a solution during the dry season. For example, in areas prone to drought, Vegan Village Society helps women groups in partnership with other organizations like Printy Food to distribute water tanks and encourages use of sufficient watering methods to maintain vegetable production. And method number 8 is community training and knowledge sharing. Here means educating farmers, school children, and women's groups about veganic methods and encourage collaborations because it promotes long-term adoption of sustainable practices, encourages peer-to-peer learning, builds resilient farming communities because regular workshops, on-site farm demonstrations, and distribution of training manuals to farmers. My friends, Vegan Village Society, by using these methods, these techniques, and many others, has created a long-term impact in our communities. Especially, it has reduced chemical use and environmental pollution, increased access to fresh and healthy vegetables, which was not the case before, especially in our community. It has empowered women farmers with sustainable skills. And lastly, it has improved soil fertility and farm resilience to climate change. I thank you for listening to me, and I wish you a nice deliberation in this meeting.
Thank you so much, Ian, for that presentation, the video that we've seen. Our members, our dear participants, you can see that the conversation we are having is of multiple levels. There are farmers who have already tried some of these ideas, like the previous one, and they are already sharing the number of ways they try to adapt the concept to their environment and context. With those, I want to ask if there's someone who has a question to Axel before I proceed. You can always raise your hand and we'll see, and then you get the rights to participate. But as I wait, I want to welcome Johannes, who is going to make the next presentation for the next 20 minutes or less. And he will be sharing more about the connectivity and the depth of biocyclic vegan agriculture from his experiences in Greece and also Cyprus and Germany and Europe in general. But who is Dr. Johannes? Dr. Johannes, impressively, when I read your profile, I learned that you did agroecology in your doctorate in 1992. And for many of us who just heard the concept and we think it's quite yesterday, but there are people who already studied agroecology and they've been part of this discussion, the science, the practice, and possibly now the movement for this number of years. And so listening to them give us the courage to know that we are on the right course. Particularly, Johannes also has done and has trained as a farmer. He practices in the farm in Greece as well. But he's been very fundamental in the development of the Biocyclic vegan guidelines that are being used in partnership and now part of the IFOM family of standards. IFOM is normally an international organic agriculture network that is very proactive around the world. And normally they hold a very major event in Germany each year. He's also been very crucial in researching and making sure that we are not just having the concepts, but also having on-ground experiences and scientifically proven or understood ideas, where he's developing and the humus soil, which is going to be able to share with us and how it really develops. It's also my first time to experience it, and I can't wait to learn more from you, Dr. Johannes, on how we are going to be proceeding when it comes to field-based actions. Thank you so much, and I want to invite you to proceed with your presentation.
Thank you very much. thank you very much for this opportunity of this meeting, of this maybe important day for Africa, because we gather from various sides and countries to have a look into the future of agriculture. And so welcome to everybody also from my side. I'm connected to you from Greece, as Juliet also already said. And let's start the presentation. I have to share my presentation first. So I hope that is visible. Do you see now tropical forest in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay. So the topic I have to contribute to this event today is how biocyclic vegan agriculture can contribute to nature-based solutions, climate resilience, and agroecology, and of course, how it can be applied in practice. As Axel already said, I'm a co-founder of Biocyclic-Veganer International, or Adolf-Hubs-Gesellschaft, and I am here the manager of Biocyclic Park in Kalamata in Greece. So since Axel introduced to you the history of veganism, I want to give you an explanation of what the term biocyclic means. The word biocyclic comes from the Greek word for bio, of bios, for life, and kyklos, cyclos, for circle and cycle. On land, the plant is the driving force of the carbon cycle, and through this carbon cycle, plants create fertile soil. This sounds a little bit strange, but it is the result of the latest scientific research on soil microbiology and soil science. So the plant functions as a kind of carbon pump. A naturally fertile soil is healthy when the metamorphosis of carbon is not disrupted by human intervention, like fertilizing, excessive tillage, monoculture, or chemical sprayings. Or in other words, when the natural currency of nitrogen, which is soil carbon, is not substituted by money, buying chemical fertilizers or using animal manure. I want just to show you with this picture that the word cycle, biocycle, is real. It's describing natural processes. Everything is a part of a cycle. In the case when we are looking at plants, the plant is an essential point of various cycles. It is the driving force for the carbon cycle, for the water cycle, for nitrogen, and of course of energy, putting energy from sunlight to the bottom, to the soil. And in the middle of all these cycles, the plant creates something as a kind of side product, which is called fertile soil. And this process is called natural plant-induced soil generation. And it happens everywhere in nature. So the plant is what makes a good soil a fertile soil. And when you see that the plant is at the center of these cycles, you can understand what Hans-Peter Rusch in the 1950s, a Swiss doctor, the founder of Biozyklisch-Veganer Association, called the cycle of living substance, which is nothing different than biocycle. And this is the label depicting that. Adolf-Hubs, who was introduced to you already by Axel, had the motto of his life. So we are talking about a very simple principle. It is the principle, the vertical principle from healthy soils to healthy plants to healthy humans. So what we do in agriculture has a healing or a destructive effect on nature and humans. And so we come to a more spherical definition of what is biocyclic vegan agriculture. It is the production of physiologically healthy food through a closed circle of plant-based biomass without the deviation through the stomach of animals, the vegan aspect, under conditions which result in the re-establishment of the natural soil-generating mechanisms aiming at a sustainable increase of soil fertility and nutrients density in food. Biocyclic vegan agriculture is not just a variation of organic farming methods, but it is able to increase yields to levels higher than conventional agriculture. It is able to produce food with higher nutrient content, and it offers solutions for small and large-scale farming as well, also for urban farming or vertical farming techniques. So it is a real contribution to world food security, to food quality, and to resilient supply chains, which I will mention a little bit afterwards. An until recently unknown natural fertility booster has been found in Greece at Biocyclic Park roughly in 2012. And this is called Biocyclic humus soil. Biocyclic humus soil is the result of establishing extremely favorable conditions for the activation of symbiosis between plants and soil microorganisms, through which plants get access to all nutrients in a natural way. And as a side effect, plants generate fertile soil through their root exudates, a process called photosynthetic carbonization. And this is something which happens in nature, but did not in agricultural systems. So biocyclic vegan agriculture means that we can adopt a totally natural mechanism in order to receive better food. Humus soil generation starts with a super ripe, root-friendly compost called phytoponic culture substrate, or PCS, and it ends up after approximately 5 years of intensive vegetable production on PCL's hillbeds, which I will show you in some pictures. The conditions for the activation of the process are no water-soluble fertilizers, no animal manure. The second is, as we saw also in the video, mixed culture, high biodiversity. And there is another precondition, a properly prepared 100% plant-based compost in PCS quality. If we fulfill these conditions, these requirements, we will get results in the form of higher yields, no groundwater pollution, better plant health, and a high rate of carbon sequestration in soils, and higher concentrations of nutrients in food. So, biocyclic vegan agriculture implements natural plant nutrition mechanisms based on the latest scientific research. Symbiotic plant-induced nutrient intake, which is independent from the water intake. And this is very essential in order to understand all this paradigm shift we can understand if we look at nature. Now I will show you some pictures of what it means to cultivate vegetables or other fruits on this material, which is called biocyclic humus soil. some lettuces. These are radishes of a small variety. This is written on the paper. In reality, it's big. Cauliflowers, we harvested here at Biocyclic Park. The smallest was 4.5 and the biggest was 9.2 kilogram. A cabbage. Artichoke, which has about 16 flowers per plant. Spinach, it's one plant. Lettuce. So, biocyclic humus soil is a symbiotic rhizobiome catalyst or fertility booster with a high concentration of stabilized carbon structures based on plant-induced photosynthetic carbonization. This is the scientific definition of humus soil. So how do we get this material? Let me just show you some pictures how it starts. The first step is that we have to collect whatever plant-based raw material we can get, either from our gardens, from our households, from food industry, breweries, whatever you can imagine where is a concentration of organic material. This material comes from fields and finally has to go back to the field. So if we collect all these materials and also from pack houses, for example, or from, and we put it together on a pile or a windrow, which has to be treated specially in order to get a high aerization and rotting process, an aerob rotting process with high temperatures, which is essential for the result. But of course, at the first step, there is a knowledge transfer and an on-site training necessary. And because this is something which can be adapted everywhere, in every climate, and with every kind of plant-based material. Please do not call these materials waste. They are not waste. It is a secondary raw material for producing a new material, which is called biocyclic humus soil. This is from our last course here from last week. There are different types of how to start the rotting process. You can use machines or you can do it by hand. This is a project in Colombia where we started composting with a material which was very easy to find there, invading the natural forests. And by shredding it, we get a wonderful compost. And this is used to produce lettuce, which is distributed in the capital of Colombia. This is a picture in Paraguay, where there is a cooperative using sugarcane for the main material for composting. And we established also there a compost plant for purely plant-based compost, and it has to be, and it was refined. We will see some other pictures. This is a picture here from Kalamata, where we use a small technology for turning the windrows. So how it looks like when we start the refining process, having the good PCS into biocyclic humus soil. This looks like that. So besides the unripe windrows, we start planting vegetables on it. And these are some pictures from several sites here in Greece. These are okras, just in the beginning, or red beets, or lettuces. And this is a picture from Germany. Salads produced by PCS hill beds. This is again a picture from Colombia, where I said it's used for lettuce production. And the owner of this farm in 3,000 meters altitude is preparing the whole farm from chicken manure away to PCS production in biocyclic vegan agriculture. This is again a picture, excuse me for the, it belongs to the Paraguay pictures where we started this process about 3 years ago. And this is how it looks when it is refined in a small garden. And these are the results in Paraguay. Also in Brazil, there is an initiative connected to a cashew product, a cashew project. And there we started educating young village people in preparing the first step ever to compost. Or again here in Greece, seed production or banana production in Crete. All this is possible when you grow on PCS and let the plant create or generate themselves what we call afterwards humus soil. And therefore we call it also biocyclic humus soil, because it's a part of a cycle which is ruled and governed by the plant itself. And the plant has the ability to absorb the nutrients which are in this nutrient-rich material, not according to a water-soluble availability, but according to the symbiosis with the microorganisms. So the plant themselves give the signals what they want to take in, and this changes their behavior totally. This is an artificial intelligence picture, how it could look in a Mediterranean area when you incorporate or implement biocyclic vegan humus soil refinement into other cultivations and other crops or agroforestry systems. There are 3 preconditions. Some of them I mentioned already: the absolute absence of water-soluble elements, the cultivation of many species at the same time, polyculture or mixed culture, and if possible, permanent coverage of the surface of the soil. And but at the moment, there are some economic restrictions why this does not happen. And this has to do with the economic situation of a compost plant and the economic situation of a farm, either big or small. So therefore, we founded, we are introducing a cooperation between compost plants, which are licensed to produce PCS, and the refinement partners, who are those who really, by cultivating vegetables, help to produce and to increase the amount of biocyclic humus soil we need. So, in other words, we need a worldwide soil fertility alliance, and it is not only something which matters farmers or gardeners, it matters everybody. And our aim is to introduce a mass production of PCS and biocyclic humus soil. And therefore, we founded the International Biocyclic Humus Soil Initiative, which is expressed by the Terra Plena project, which is the way how to implement these new knowledges on a local level. And this is also our suggestion for local communities in Africa. The central unit of production is a kind of cooperation. It's a living organism on a social and economic level, and it is called Terra Plena Hub. The central point of a Terra Plena Hub is the PCS provider or the composter, the composting unit. Connected to that, there are the raw material providers. So this means there has to be a communication like the plant communicates in the soil with the microorganisms, we have to communicate on a local level to all those sources which can provide us with raw materials for composting. Then we need the refiners, which offer the place and the labor force in order to produce vegetables on this material, which generates by itself without doing anything, really anything else than putting the plant in the soil, irrigating, and not forget to harvest. All the other things are done by the plants. These are the circle of refiners, the group of refiners which belong to a local terracleaner hub. And of course, the refiners will very soon, after some weeks, realize that they have a surplus production. So this surplus production of vegetables, which can also create a surplus income source, has to be distributed. So a terracleaner hub has also to have connections to gastronomy, to local food trade, to households, and thus we create a short way with and a community economic unit which increases resilience again supply chains which could be affected by external effects. So we really need everybody to help. It's something we invite everybody to contribute to this project to help increasing this wonderful gift of nature, which makes us, our vegetables and other plants, also trees, grow again like a wild herb or a wild plant, being liberated from the fertilizing concept, which does not offer everything what a plant really wants. So our suggestion is to find the place, to take part to be part of the chain and take the chance and find your place to contribute in rescuing our soils and finally life on Earth. And I want to close my presentation citing Dr. Friday Nwigwe from Nigeria, who was the former chief of Child Survival and Development Program of UNICEF. And he said, Biocyclic human soil generation is like putting seeds for global health and welfare in harmony with nature. And with this, I want to thank you for your attention, and I'm ready and I'm waiting for your questions in the last session.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Johannes, and those who have managed to clap. It shows that you're there, which is amazing. Which is amazing. Thank you so much for this presentation, which really gives us an alternative to soil creation. So, members, as we've started, some of you have joined us along the way. Our webinar is on the enhancing the potential by cyclic vegan agriculture to propel nature-based solutions, agroecology, and climate resilience. And it's happening today on the 1st of October 2025. So we've begun there with strength, but also a quarter with a lot of energy, and we look forward to a number of opportunities when it comes to supporting a plant-based system in the process of transforming our food and agriculture system. At the beginning, our presenters also were able to show us the different trajectories and why we need a transformation in how we plant and how we feed and how we try to navigate our food and agriculture needs. It's common knowledge, it's a right, it's a human need, but also it's a basic biological need that we need food, and how we generate and how we feed and handle the different processes becomes very, very important. We begin with a presentation from Axel, who is also the founder of Biocyclic Vegan International and a range of other institutions that they are coordinating, who provided us with a history of Biocyclic Vegan agriculture and a first impression on how it looks like. We had a video from one of the person practicing plant-based agriculture system from Uganda. And we've also had to hear from the contributions of Dr. Johannes about biocyclic vegan agriculture in general, but also zooming into the soil part where they are doing a lot of work in Greece. And they're actually open, they do trainings for different people who want to build their capacity and understand the whole concept as well. With those, unless someone has a question in the chat, I'm missing. Kindly use the chat when you have a question, or in plenary you can raise your hand and we shall be able to pick up your questions as they come. But in case you have one that is coming through during the presentation, please go through the chat and type and share your question, and we shall be able to read them as well. In case I'm getting feedback regarding logging in Teams, it's not very easy for some of our participants. Kindly be on the lookout if someone is in the waiting room to also let them in. We want to proceed with a presentation also tailored to the African context. This whole plant-based conversation, as I told you, plants are a central part of the agriculture and food system. They've been around for some time. They're actually the center of it all. Why are we bothered? Is the reason why we are here. And I think this presentation by Dr. Alex is going to be enlightening in that direction. Why should we be bothered additionally? In addition to what the previous presenters have also shared, why we need to be bothered about supporting plant-based agriculture system. Alex identifies as an agriculturist and an environmental scientist. He's done a lot of research on plants, of course. Maize is his main area of focus, and he does modeling. So he's you would consider him also a futurist in a way that he's trying to see how his crops are going to behave amidst climate change today and in the coming few years. So with those few words, Alex, I want to invite you and also alert you about the time where we need to give people time to discuss your presentations, all of you, to give us your presentation on the context in Africa. I can see the title as well. Broaden it to make sure it is in presentation view.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction, Juliet. And once again, my names have been said. Alex is and I'm from Uganda, from Mind and Nature Institute. To begin with, various presenters have talked about the context, and I will come in to contextualize basically Africa, giving some examples from the African continent and also the ongoing prospects. The title is Plant-Based Agriculture in Africa, Opportunities and Challenges, as you read it. But what I want to start with is that Africa presents a significant untapped opportunity for developing sustainable plant-based systems, offering a viable model to address global challenges in climate, health, and food security. So the topic is very relevant and very timely that we are talking about, and I appreciate the organizers and presenters in this activity. Begin with, for Africa, how we conceive the concept and how we understand it. It's basically plant-based vegan agriculture, which we are talking about, and it's crop focused, and it excludes livestock, animal inputs. It's purely plant-based. And plant-based agriculture is an agroecological strategy, which we are looking at, excluding livestock inputs. And this one aligns also with some kind of regenerative agricultural principles. And it has deep roots in the African cultural traditions with plant-based diets. For example, injera is based in Ethiopia. We have beans, we have cassava, all sorts of pulses and leguminous fruits and vegetables, ranging from a wide perspective. But also, this is justified by the growing global trend in terms of health, climate, and ethical practices. From the from the previous discussions, I think Akise talked about the link with the health, so other ethical drivers. So this is all rooted also in the African perspective of a plant-based kind of agriculture. But also agronomically, it's a biopest control plants kind of initiative where there is a mutual relationship of fighting pests within farms. Different crops like maize is planted with the striga to control follower, and also different crops are also intercropped, mixed up to control pests and diseases. And also other crops which are giving us also, they fix soils and control degradation. So this is basically trying to position African agricultural practices into a nature-based kind of solution for soil restoration and sustainable food production. The concept is still, as I said earlier, that it's core in terms of land, and the system is defined by cultivation of mutual crops which can benefit from each other. For example, nitrogen fixing leguminous crops and other crops. And it is without animal-derived fertilizers. We are talking about a plant-based, creating a closed-loop agroecological system that directly builds soil health and environment impact. So it aligns basically with regenerative agriculture and the nature-based kind of initiative. It on the production level, the status of the soil is actually, it's a plant-based kind of agriculture, but it does well in terms of solving soil health problems. And currently the prevalence in sub-Saharan Africa, if you look at the tables published by FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, you can see that most of the degradation forms can be fixed by a plant-based kind of agriculture. Like there is prevalence of soil erosion, nutrient depletion. From Johannes' presentation, we have soil humus, which really can help to amend the soil properties. And also it can help to build the declining soil organic carbon and the soil organic loss, carbon loss. Then it's a source of biodiversity. So there will be no biodiversity loss. Then amending the nutrient levels from soil pH and also combating soil salinization, which are typical problems in African agricultural systems. So the plant-based agriculture is really positioned to avert those risks in production. Also, why Africa? Why? Now, Africa presents a unique perspective in terms of perspectives. For example, it has a population set to double by 2050. And it has critical testing ground for sustainable intensification, and plant-based agriculture offers a pathway for the soaring food demand while mitigating greenhouse gases, which is climate change. You can see all the regions in Africa, east to south, the population is plateauing, and that means there is a need for the people. So the African rising population, first of all, is a big demand for some kind of plant-based agriculture, obtain even materials to increase the production. But also the health which is declining, this is the form of a clean food source, which can also fix health problems as we saw previously. And also in terms of nutrient, there is organic cycling, which also increases the carbon store and other soil nutrient sources. For the case studies in Africa, Africa has been in based but its promotion has remained a tradition, just introduced. But it's very important to understand that countries like Ethiopia, they have strong cultural traditions with the plant-based diets. I talked about injera, beans, cassava, and also they export one of the most cooperatives and chicken pea producers, and also this supports smallholder farmers in terms of food security and nutrition. Nigeria, these are different case studies which I'm giving you across Africa. There is soya bean, which is processed into tofu, soya milk, and also it's affordable. It can be consumed at household level and improves nutrition. So it's a form of an economic potential transforming locally adapted protein-rich regimes like soybean, cowpeas, and value-added products which help to strengthen the local food sovereignty and creating market opportunities through that kind of perspective. Then when we go to Kenya, we have horticultural products in Kenya and Uganda, and these ones are always produced and exported even to Europe. These are basically innovation farmland kind of gardens which benefit from compost, and most times they exclude manure because remember, most of the farmers, the land holding size is less than 2 hectares, and sometimes they cultivate in smaller plots and they cannot keep livestock. So they rely on plant materials as inputs at the farm level. So really, livestock is not owned by most of the farmers actually. It's not by every farmer to hold livestock to obtain manure, but what can easily be accessed are plant-based materials which work as local innovations for us farm units. But also other sources of implementation in terms of soil degradation. We have currently other problems which I talked about. For example, the soils need to be fixed, and synthetic fertilizers are quite expensive to purchase. But in this era of climate change, plant-based farming is a direct adaptation strategy for example, for effects like drought and soil degradation. And also, it significantly reduces emissions in some kind of circularity, some kind of process where there is kind of circularity. It's a circular economy kind of solution because it converts abundant organic waste, for example, like valuable humus, and it becomes a soil amendment. So it's some kind of a bioeconomy and a circularity in the form of achieving that. And remember, there are issues like organic waste, for example, in Uganda, where we have a household producing over 7 kilograms of organic waste per household per day. And this organic waste is where it generates humus soil, which is rich in organic matter, and also it can fix soils. There are other opportunities in a plant-based kind of agriculture, like I talked about nitrogen fixation. We have a water hyphen-based compost, which contains substantial amounts of nitrogen and phosphorus and also potassium. So there are examples, different research has been done, and it is published in Uganda. And also, we have done mulch based on different plants, and we created a straw mulch, which was talked about in the video. We have also done it and proved it scientifically, how it can control erosion, but also how it can increase maize yields at 40%. Other opportunities markets exist, and vegetables, for example, and also bioproducts fetch a lot of prices compared to other conventional products. Also export for, like, we have avocado export for basically vegetables, and this is making economies and markets thrive. For food nutrition, we have biofortification, iron-rich beans, vitamins, and also dietary diversity. So there are a lot of opportunities which are. However, much as this one exists, there are several challenges from a plant-based perspective of veganism, which we don't need to override much. We need to create some kind of awareness and some kind of orientation. But these challenges exist, for example, culturally and socially, like meat is often viewed as a wealth status. Those are perspectives, and also limited consumer awareness of plant-based nutrition, resistance to dietary change in some communities, limited research on plants for shades, for example, plants for soil water conservation. All those are very important to boost plant-based production, plant-based agriculture. Then to the supply side, low yields due to poor soils, just as I presented previously, because of soil degradation. And also inadequate storage and processing facilities. Those are some of the key challenges which are predominantly affecting the industry of plant-based. Then we farmer to market linkages. That one there exists. And I will conclude by giving a way forward. Africa has a strong potential to expand plant-based agriculture based on the available evidence. And success to do this requires investment in research, inputs, and markets, and also upscaling and scaling out what is existing. What we saw from the video, what we have done previously, what has been done in Greece, we need to scale it out. We need to make it visible on the ground. Then supporting policies and financing mechanisms, it should be one of the priorities to upscale, to multiply. We create a multiplier effect from events in Greece, from different villages in Uganda, from Nigeria, so that we have a wide coverage. Then, of course, awareness campaigns to plant-based nutrition. And with this, plant-based agriculture is equal to a pathway to sustainable, resilient, and equitable food system in Africa as the population continues to grow and other issues like climate change. We have a savior, which is a plant-based agriculture system. I thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Alex, for that presentation. You can kindly stop sharing. The presentation was now grounding our need, our observations of plant-based agriculture on the continent of Africa. I like that you noted that we've been around for some time, we've been doing the things, and there is also quite some bit of research, especially on the water hyphis. For those who are experienced with the Lake Victoria waters, they know it is a challenge, but glad there is some research that found it useful, that it can actually be converted into another soil property that is of good health. So indeed, there are so many plants, and indeed there are also so many useful uses that we can put to plants to ensure that we really don't have to move far, but up near for nature-based solutions, boost our resilience to climate change and other challenges and shocks, but also ensure that we are still within the agroecological rhythms and principles. Varied principles, of course. Some talking organic agriculture, others talking a complete elimination of hurting animals and all animal products and manures, and others in between there along the chain. So I want to alert that our participants that we're in a meeting where we are trying to ensure that different voices have different places within the whole journey of transforming food and agriculture systems. And the plant-based group is also presenting their case, and they are demonstrating that actually it is the path that we need to be taking if we are going to feed the population that we've seen, the graphs growing, but also achieve other objectives. Thank you so much. I want to invite Ian, who will make the last presentation, and then we shall have plenary, where members, I'm hoping they're putting questions in the chat, and also they'll be able to have a moment of discussion. Ian, I've talked about you several times, and I'm happy that you're there.
Thank you.
You're a tropical forester, but also an animal rights promoter, but also plant-based promoter and also practitioner. I want to invite your presentation so that it leads us into our plenary as well.
Thank you, Juliet. I will try to keep my presentation as short as possible, because I think it's very important that people can also get answers to their questions. So I will share my presentation now. So yes, I work for Plenty Food, and we are a development organization that only works with plant-based food projects. And our goal is to to improve food security and fight malnutrition in the world. And if you go to this slide, then you will see how we work and why we work this way. So when you work through animals, you lose a lot of materials like food and also water. So if you work with plant-based systems, you can feed many more people. And that is why we only work with plant-based food projects like food forests, like vegetable gardens, like fruit gardens. And we work in different parts of the world. And if you look at this slide, then you see that it is not only very efficient in terms of food, because when you eat plant-based food directly, it is much more efficient than first giving it to an animal, but it also saves a lot of water. And the areas where we work in, for instance, in Kenya, there is a water shortage. So when you have animals, then there is also a lot of waste of water, while you can grow many healthy crops through that. So Plenty Food this year exists for 20 years. And in those 20 years, we have supported over 23 projects. And at this moment, we support 9 projects in the Global South. And these are different projects, like, for instance, also a school garden project, or a vegetable garden project, or a fruit tree projects. And this is how we work. So we are Plenty Food International, and we have a base in the Netherlands, but also in Germany. And since 3 years, we've been working together with the Network for Biocyclic Vegan Agriculture in the Netherlands and Belgium. And over the last few years, we've also been working with farmers in Africa to grow vegetables without using animal manure. So this is the board members of Plenty Food, and within the organization, I am the project coordinator, so I give advice on agriculture, but I also do the fundraising.
Sorry, Ayan, the slides are not moving. We only see the introduction. No. We just see the introduction still.
Oh, no. How is that possible?
Here we are.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, we see a different one now. Yeah, now it's moving. Yeah. Now it's,
okay, so I have to work a little bit different. Yes, so here you see the picture of why we think it is much more efficient to work with plant-based food projects than with animals. Here is the picture of the water usage by animals. So for instance, if you would produce 1 kilogram of cow's meat, it takes 15,500 liters of water, while vegetables can be grown by for instance, 100 liters of water. Here is the overview of the projects that we support at this moment and some of the projects that we have supported over the years. And this is the organizational overview that I talked about. So we have Plenty Food International, Plenty Food the Netherlands, and Plenty Food Germany. And we are also looking to introduce Plenty Food Belgium. So this is the countries where we are applying for funding, and then we can support projects in the global south. And since 3 years, we've been working together with Biocyclic vegan agriculture. And now we are also working with farmers in the global south to adopt vegan agriculture. So this is the board members we work with. And next to this, we also have a group of volunteers to help us, like, for instance, to make the website or go to festivals and talk about the benefits of veganism and promoting plant-based food projects. Now, before I show the video of Bob Rumanzi of the organization Vegan Village Society, of the different methods that you can use to grow crops in a veganic way. And I just want to show you one more method that he works with, and this is the key garden method. So this is the garden where in the middle of the garden you put organic materials, and as they degrade into compost, the vegetables around it can take the nutrients from the compost. And I wonder if there are more people here that work with this system of the key garden and have some experience with it. And I think it works quite well. As you can see, the vegetables grow very well. The second project I wanted to show you is the organization we work with is the Ethical Vegan Community, also in Uganda. Here the director and founder is Brenda Bukoma. And what she wanted to highlight is the use of wood ash. So one thing is, of course, to make plant-based materials into compost, but another way is to burn it and use the ashes to be used as a fertilizer. So that is also one way you can grow your vegetables. And lastly, I wanted to show an example of Sondu Vegan Support Group. This is done by Kenneth Ndongo. He gives agricultural advice to about 40 farmers, but he also teaches children at Siani Primary and Secondary School to grow vegetables. And Plenty Foods supports this project to give advice to the children on how they can grow their vegetables in an organic and plant-based vegan way. So here is one more example of the school children that he works with. This is the school where they are taught how to grow the vegetables. They are also taught in methods of how to do irrigation. And also that you need to be careful to protect your vegetables from animals. Because if you are not careful, then maybe goats or cows in the area can destroy your crop. And he is also giving lectures on how to make compost. In this example, there is made compost first by putting dry materials and later on putting fresh materials to make the compost. And what I think is quite unique for the projects that we work with is that Kenneth also works with seaweed because they are quite close to the sea. And I wondered if there are more experiences of that in Africa. So I know that in England also there is a farmer that uses seaweed, but if they only use seaweed, which might be attractive, is that there could be problems with too much salt. So my advice would be to always mix it with other green vegetables. So I just want to keep it short with this, with the examples of plant-based inputs. And here is, if you want to know more about Plentyfood, you can go to our website, plentyfood.org. And if you are interested to work together and look into ways if we can maybe support your project to help, for instance, women groups or help schools in growing their own crops, you can contact us through this website and through the email address info@plentyfood.org. So this is where I want to end my presentation now.
Thank you so much.
It was visible now. And I think we still
Yes.
have some time for answering the questions.
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
do have. Thank you so much, Anne, for highlighting the work you're doing with Plentyfood and also indicating that you're open to more partnerships and people who are interested in promoting the vegan agricultural process. There's so much that we've shared and we've done the talking and you've been doing the listening. Now it's time also to do your talking, and also we do the listening and we do also the responding, and also you do the listening. So I want to invite anyone who has a question, you can always raise your hand, and or a discussion point, feel free to raise your hand and get the rights to speak. But also I've had number of interesting discussions in the chat where members inquired where the bio-vegan standards are, and they were shared also in the group. Paul Constantine has raised his hand. Maybe you can give him a microphone. Is he able to unmute?
He has to unmute himself, I think. Okay, yeah.
Yes, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentations. I've learned so much. My name is Apollo Constantine, the founder of EcoSpace Foundation, Uganda. We are a vegan and a food system change-based organization. And my question goes to Ajan from Plentyfood. Which opportunities do you have for vegan organizations in Africa? And could you be having an accelerator program where you recruit different participants from different organizations, maybe vegan advocates, food system change advocates, to join your platform, learn about your opportunities, but also gain mentorship in line with food system change? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ian. Do you want to take it first, or we invite Kai also to air his? Kai has his hand raised.
Thank you very much. Oh, sorry. Do we not first answer the question?
Can be answering.
Yes, go ahead
Kai
with
and
answering.
unmutes as well.
Go ahead with answering, I think.
Okay, yeah.
And then I'll pose my question.
Thank you, Constantine. Yes, we have a app group for all the vegan initiatives in Africa. So if you can write an email to info@plentyfood.org, then we are happy to put you in this chat group where experiences are shared. And also we can, depending on what kind of initiative you have, look at opportunities to find funding to help there. So please enlist, and I hope we can work together.
All right. Thank you so much. Kai, can kindly go forth.
Thank you very much indeed for the presentation and all the inspirations. I'm from the Federal Ministry for the Environment in Germany, dealing with agriculture from an environmental and nature conservation perspective. And I was wondering, what should policies in Germany, what should the ministry do, could we do in order to promote your activities? Is there anything concrete you would like us to do? Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kai, for that good question. I'm sure the team here is ready with answers. Any other hand? Or they can, Ayan, you can proceed to say something. Also, Axel and Johannes and Alex, our dear presenters. I think everyone has something to say.
I mean, we have, regarding the possibility how politics can help, this is one of our main issues, because there can be a very strong support from policies. Actually, we had already in the past, in the German context, we had already some support with the German Environment Agency, which supported some projects to help become more visible in the world. Of course, this is still not enough, and I also feel that at the moment we are strongly involved and need to be more involved with the Ministry for Agriculture, but we see there's a very strong resistance, especially rollback in politics at the moment, going back to old world thinking in a way, and so it is, well, of course, we have projects even developed in Germany for the protein strategy, where we did some consulting, and where we have a project where we do some workshops and training. So there's a little bit of support, but the funding is still very sparse compared to other the money which goes into the industrial agriculture and traditional agriculture. We are also looking very much now at the international level, because in Germany the thing is starting, but we need also support from other organizations who support to set up a stronger structure for organizing this kind of training, this kind of information. And I think this is a long process. We have been working in this field for about 10 years. There is a success now, but it is a bit too slow. So it depends on individuals who implement it, who do the networking, who also motivate politicians on the local and national level, on the EU level, on the international level. So with all the institutions, yes, it is very general, the answer, but we know that there are so many items where we can, of course, start, but at the moment it depends on the goodwill of the people who are making the policy. I think this is the main issue, that there is also a mentality shift, a mind shift, which we need to implement.
Thank you, Axel, and also to the ministry also works with a number of agencies that work overseas, like in our case, as he mentions, if the policy from Germany are not driving this narrative, and also the possibility and also the opportunity that comes with plant-based agriculture, normally it may not cut through the different overseas development support. And that is one of the things that we are trying to do to raise awareness that there is an opportunity in Africa. There are already plants, we do have plants, but we have issues of scale. For instance, you find a given plant that has been found, it can actually help with pesticides or other mechanisms, but it's found in country A and it's missing in country B. But we are trying to find ways of scaling some of these solutions, growing them, scaling them, nurturing them, but also disseminating the information. This is one of the first steps that we are doing. And with Axel and Plenty Food, we are trying to grow this whole now idea into the African context, where it has been there but small and weak, and now we are strengthening and broadening it. Thank you so much, Kai, for giving us attention. Ayan, you had a question to respond to as well.
Yes, I would like to add something.
Yes, Johannes?
I just want to add something to the question of Mr. Schlegelmilch. I think something which could be addressed to everybody, to every country, from the view of an organic farmer, certification is an issue because it is really a burden of bureaucracy and very expensive in many countries. There are some certification schemes of group certification and so on, but then it's again the problem of how to get certified also for the market in Europe. I think it is necessary to think about subsidizing certification schemes in order to ease implementation of a certification. We believe that it is necessary. Therefore, we have a quality seal, which is given also only to certified units. But we have to think about easy ways, lean management schemes for this certification. Especially in Africa, I think it's necessary not to blow up a bureaucracy, which would be really an obstacle for getting visible, because the reliability of a product depends also on the visibility of its label.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Johannes. Plenty. I want to also appreciate Yaron for being around. Yaron, I didn't give you an opportunity to say something, but I think you will. Ayan.
Yeah, I don't know if there were any questions left, but what I can say from the experience in the Netherlands, I don't know exactly the situation in Germany, but in the Netherlands, it's very important that farmers have land rights for a long term. If you want to invest into your soil, you need to know that you have land rights for decades or even longer, because otherwise it is just uneconomic to invest in it. And a lot of problems in the Netherlands come that you get land rights for 3 years, and then after this you don't know whether you can still stay there. So that is something really important to work on.
Okay. Thank you so much. Brenda had her hand up. Kindly give her the rights to say something, Brenda. Brenda, are you able to unmute? Brenda, I also wanted to hear from George. George, in addition to being a Potsdam graduate with his PhD in Potsdam, which is near Berlin, he's done, most of his work has been on plants. And we were discussing with him on starting a plant center where we do research, we train people, so that really people can see the potential of this whole idea that we're talking about. I want our participants to understand there are two elements to it. One is the vegan part of things, but also there is the plant part of things, plant-based opportunities, which we are exploring. So the house is not just limited to the vegan part, but also to the plant aspects, so that you know what to do with nature-based solutions, but also when it comes to climate resilience, there is much more in the basket, and also contributing to our entire agroecological framework and the environmental framework, as I already told you. So we do have this opportunity that we want to explore. Brenda, were you able to unmute? Yeah, Nimbo. Axel, can you help Brenda? Can you unmute Brenda?
I can't find her here, Brenda, because I was looking in the list. Is she under the name Brenda? I don't see any Brenda here.
There's Brenda. She's starting with any Nabifo. Nabifo Brenda.
Ah, that's it. Okay. Now I find her. Yeah, allow Mike. Now she can unmute herself.
Brenda, unmute and say. Why is your volume low? That's failed, Brenda. How come?
She's still muted.
No, she's unmuted there according to me, but I can't hear talk. I can see her talk, but I can't hear her. Brenda, you can hear me? Give me a sign that you can hear me. Yes, you're hearing me, but I'm not hearing you. That's a challenge. So, members, we are almost closing. We are almost coming to a close, and it's very important that we really have our parting shots. One of the impression of the meeting that we've had, the webinar that we've had, which was on enhancing the potential of bicyclic vegan agriculture. As you've learned, it's an agriculture and food system that is excluding plant-based, no, not plant-based, I mean animal-based products and practices. And we've been able to demonstrate the different values, the different advantages that we do have along it. I also take note that when we are discussing plant-based, there are so many plants out there. And there are plants for animals in the first place, much as we are saying we're excluding animals. But remember also animals have rights of existence. So there are animals, there are plants for animals that we need actually to protect them. Coming from a mind-nature point of view, we need actually plants for animals. Just note that there are animals that we don't eat. There are wildlife animals as well. There are animals that also have a right to exist. So there are plants for animals, and we need to protect them as well, also multiply them for those different values. There are also plants that we use for pest control. So there are so many values that we can get from certain plants, things that we are going to be progressively learning about. There are plants that can help us in soil and water conservation, or actually water conservation as a whole. There are also plants that are good for our soils, enhancing our soil fertility, but also beyond fertility. Johannes showed us that we can actually also create soil using the plants as well. So there's no more excuses. There are plants for food, for people, vegan food, vegan diets. There are plants for trade to build our economies. And Alex was able to give us a number of examples and what is being done. There are plans for shade and control of all the different natural disasters like winds and the likes. You've heard of the mangrove plants? That is one of the areas. So the discussion is broad, but we've started it in one of the areas. You know, every idea, every project, every framework needs custodians. And these custodians are the plant-based organizations, for instance, the Biocyclic-Veganer International, who are able to hold with the idea for as long as when everyone gets tired, at least they are around to support us so that we don't get tired. So there are so many things we can do with plants for our food and agriculture system. And I want to request our presenters to have their parting shots. Apart from there's someone who raised their hand, I want to give you a second as we close, and then our presenters, each of you has just 1 second to give us a parting shot of their impression and what they would say. Everyone who has attended should go away with. Prepper, you able to unmute and say something in less than a minute?
Yes, hello.
Yes, please.
Yes, this is Premper from Ghana. Yes, I would like to say that I would thank the organizers for organizing such a platform, or for this insightful platform that we can learn a lot. I also want to thank Alex, also, who shared this on our platform also. Had it not been that, like, I would not be able to have the part of this presentation. But I think there's a lot to learn. I am looking forward also to be part of the Plenty Food platform, also to join the other colleagues and also learn. It's more or less like we are also doing the same thing in Ghana, Greenbelt also. So I think I also would say that this should not be a 9-day wonder. Let us keep up. Let us inform people. Let us create a platform where we are able to help develop our skills also, and then spread the message, connect people, bring a lot of people. And then I think with that, we are able to train people. We are able to also inform about the importance of this vegan. And then I think that the message will start getting to people. So in a nutshell, I would say that I will continue, for me, I will continue to be part of this. And I'm looking forward to learn also and share the ideas also with colleagues that I'm also working with, because presently our current project is also, we are also working on compost preparation, also for farmers and then school. So I think that there are similarities, there are other things that I can learn. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prepa, for joining us from Ghana. There are many members across the continent and also outside it. George, you have less than a minute to say something. George, unmute and say. George, can you hear me? Give me a sign that you heard me. George? He's not heard me, probably. Yes. But as someone who does research on the chemistry of plants, but also the different values, including the medicinal ones. So we might be thinking just food. Actually, there are plants for medicinal values, and he has done a lot of great work around that area. But also there's Dr. Turan from Norway. I see she has participated, and she's also a plant scientist. She has also done a lot of great work from Norway, but also in Uganda. So we are a rich house, but what is coming out very clear is that we had forgotten how rich plants are. And in one word or the other, we were running. Turan, you want to say something? Yes, unmute and say something.
Yes, hello. Yes,
Hello.
I did field work. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I did a PhD on food and medicinal plants in East Africa from 2006 to 2010. So both on cultivation and some on content. And I'm also part now in an initiative. Well, it is a technical school, but we are trying to develop it to a university in southern Mbarara. And it will also include medicinal plants. We have started planting medicinal trees. So it's interesting to find incorporating parties.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You.
So the medicinal element has already a very good crew.
Yes.
The food element has a very good crew. The nature element also has a very good crew. And we are such a rich house. Our dear presenters, one word as you part, and then I close. I will start with Axel. What is your impression?
I'm very happy that we had this opportunity, and I think how to say that in the experience is we start very small, but if you believe in something and you go on doing it against all difficulties, we just do it. And the experience for your organization, for our organization, Plenty Food, Biozyklisch International, we all have the experience. It grows, and we feel it is growing more, and it is becoming a strong movement, and that is very important. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you so much, Axel. Thank you so much for that hope. I think actually we are the team of movers. We appreciate them for participating all through. We've started, and we are going to grow much and much more. We have a number of activities that we have planned that are going to get us actually up to the grassroots, where we deal with the farmers, we deal with the network organizations, where we deal with the media and so many others. Ian, your parting shot.
Yeah, so I'm very happy to see such a large group of like-minded people, and I would love to work together for the coming time. I'm sorry that the question of Brenda did not come through good, but she put it in the chat. She wanted to know about seed banks, about how it is possible to organize seed banks in Uganda. And yeah, I think it is important to first look at low-tech methods, because seed banks, like they are supported by the government, are very expensive to organize. So first look at low-tech, and then look at possibilities for governments in Uganda to work together with us to organize seed banks. and then look for funding if we can organize seed banks, because I do think it is very important that varieties are developed in Uganda by the farmers themselves, and not lost through to big companies where you have to pay every year a lot of money to get your seeds. So yeah, that is my final answer.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ian, but also to notify Brenda that we have the seed bank idea well developed by a number of organizations. We are just going to keep in touch and also connect with them. They are trying to build indigenous crops and seed banks, so we can already find ways of coordinating as well. Dr. Johannes, what is your one word?
Yes, so I'm excited, very, very happy that we met together. I think this is the first step to have a glance into the future of African agriculture. It is still a chance to change things and to not make the same mistakes which have been done on other parts of the world. I really believe from the bottom of my heart in the future of Africa and in African agriculture as the model for feeding the world. And the means to do that is what we discussed today, is from our view, biocyclic vegan agriculture. And I just want to show you this, what I showed before. These are 2 sweet potatoes we just got out of our windrows here at Biocyclic Park. I think they are weighing more than 3 kilograms or so. So I wish you good results. And believe me, nature offers us much, much more than we can think at this moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Johannes. Alex?
Yeah, thank you very much, actually, for organizing this webinar. And also, I would like to appreciate the participants and all the presenters that me personally, I believe in organic cycling, but plant-based organic cycling. So it's one of the initiatives to amend and boost soil activity. But also, Kai, for the policies, you asked about the policies, and I believe that through partnerships and support, we can accelerate a plant-based agriculture by redirecting subsidies towards high plant protein crops, funding alternatives like in protein innovations, also supporting farmer transitions from livestock and mandating plant-based public procurement. These will be strategic policy shifts to which will boost the climate resilience and the green economy, which we answer. So this is a presentation of high impact investments and partnerships, and it is rooted into the grassroots movement and also to the rural livelihoods and very urban communities where there is a high need to take on. So I thank you very much.
Thank you so much. For that case, in our setting here, normally when we have a government official, they open and they also tend to close the meeting with their shorts. I want to invite Kai. At least he's been able to say that he's from there to say something. What is your impression of what we said? And yes.
Well, thank you very much indeed. It was very inspiring for me to see all the committed people and initiatives in Africa and abroad. So I'll take that definitely into my work here in the ministry, yet without wanting to get sober, but following biocyclic vegan agriculture here in the ministry is still quite exotic, I have to admit. But as you see, I'm working on it and I don't give in. So don't worry about that. Take the inspirations about how to upscale it in my daily work here and see where I find possibilities of pushing your activities in the right direction. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kai, and all our dear participants. Just to conclude and wrap up everything, I learned that we need research to really understand much more as well. We need to raise awareness and build a critical mass of people who understand what we actually say. Yes, we need to raise the awareness that is needed. We need to develop the capacity. We need to network with different opportunities, but also we need to scale up. We need to scale up these different ventures and ideas that we're putting across. With those many and beautiful moments that we've had, we've been a Mind Nature Institute. We are based in Kampala here, but we are a regional institution working across 8 countries in East Africa, what they call the East African community, with our foot in Uganda, of course, currently, but also engaging in regional matters when it comes to East Africa. We are working, for instance, with the Institution on Science and Technology in East Africa community, where we are trying to support the adoption of technologies, the assessment of the different sciences and innovations with a nature perspective. We want to contribute from that angle as well. We've also been part of the Biozyklisch-Veganer International. Axel, Johannes, the lead, and Christine was here as well. Thank you, Christine, for being around. A big team that has been working behind what they call behind doors to get everything done and set as well. We want to thank you. We want to thank Team Plenty Food in the Netherlands, Joreen, Ian, and many others. Thank you for being part of the organization. I want to thank the participants for spending your time. Many people registered, but sometimes time interpretation also becomes a challenge. Much as we put 2, one for the CET and one for Nairobi, someone is like, is it the CET or is it the Nairobi? So it is something that with these online technologies, people are adapting to the time dimension of things. It's also sometimes an issue. You think you're going to be able to participate, then time glitches you. But with those very constructive presentations that we've had, we want to continue and to alert you that we have so many other presentations coming forth, but also webinars like these where we shall be discussing and make sure that everyone is on board with the definitions, but also with the principles as well. Thank you so much. I want to say goodbye. Thank you so much.
Bye. Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I've been Juliet.
Bye. Thank you.